What's happening, everybody? It's Chris with Lone Wolf DIY. I want you to take a look at my battle station desk and see all the nice juicy mistakes I made on it, so you don't have to make those mistakes. You'd be like, Chris, you're a loser, and I want to watch this simply so I don't have to waste my money. Great, man. Please like and subscribe. But in the meantime, check it out, man. You got to see the progress on this. It's absolutely beautiful.
Welcome, dickhead.
All right, guys, I am ready to get sanded. I am absolutely ready enthusiasm-wise, and also project projection, not projection, it's the word I was looking for, progression. Getting ready to sand this down, man, and I have been so excited to get on this. I took this down to WoodWorkers Source because the weather has been so trashy, and man, this saved me hours and hours of time, and it's beautiful. You guys put it through your 3-foot drum sander, and it looks amazing. I was a little reluctant about it because I thought that that was gonna take forever, because if I were going to sand off an 1/8 of an inch thick of epoxy, it would take a week. So anyway, we're gonna be sanding this down. I'm gonna do a 220. They got it to 100. So I am going to skip grits. I know that's bad. I know anybody that is actually a good woodworker is saying, you can't skip the grids, dude. You are a noob. You're giving people the wrong information. I am aware of that. So I'm gonna do 220, and then I'm gonna do the 320. That will be just enough to do my epoxy. If I was going to be polishing this down with like a poly or a butcher block or something like that, absolutely work through the grids. That's the best part. If you're doing this work by yourself, work through the grids. Take some time, man, to put some headphones on, just take it easy. Sanding is very zen. Prep work is the most important. It's spraying on the paint, it's putting on the sealer or any of that jazz. It's the stuff that takes no time at all, but it's only as good as what it's going on top of. I am very beginner woodworker, but I really love working with mesquite and epoxy, and I know this stuff. I know this enough to give you some sort of advice on, but if you're working with a different species of wood, absolutely talk to your local guy, talk to your local lumber supplier, go on YouTube, talk with the people that work with that type of lumber, because this stuff is expensive. And I'm not gonna sit here and tell you this works the same for everything, because it doesn't. And that would make me look like a total asshole anyway, and you know it. Okay, let's get this done. So without further ado, let's get to the epoxy pour. So I went on Total Boat's website and I was able to use their epoxy calculator to figure out exactly how much I'm gonna need for this. And so I entered my length, which is 36 inches, and then my width, which is 24 inches. I'm going to allow the epoxy to run over the sides, and I want my epoxy to be 1/8 of an inch thick. So I've created this dam here with the masking tape. The epoxy gets a little time to cure, so it gets a little bit thicker, and once you pull that side off of there, it will coat the side nice and evenly instead of just running over the sides when you first put it down, because it's real liquidy. Okay, let's get to it. How many quarts are in a gallon? 4, right? 4 quarts in a gallon. So we have our bucket here, and we're gonna take our alcohol, and I'm gonna give it a little spritz in there, and I'm really gonna make sure that any and all contaminants are out of this bucket. So like dust specks or dirt or even hair. That's level. Looks pretty good. Okay, so 2 quarts. I always like to start with the resin first because it's the thicker of the two. Want to get those quantities just right. See how much more liquidy this one comes out? It's a little easier to control. Nice and easy because we don't want a lot of air bubbles. All right, now we got that all stirred up. So I went ahead and just mixed it for 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes is what they say. I always like to make sure it really gets mixed in there because again, you don't want to waste your time and money on a project just because you skimped on the mixing time a little bit. You want to make sure that all the components are nice and blended, and then that way it will cure properly on your project. I hope this is the right amount. I really hope I mixed this up enough. I hope it's the right color. I hope the client's happy. I hope it cures correctly. I hope no flies go in it. I hope the project is level enough. I hope that it runs over the sides okay. There's a lot. Wow. Look at that, everybody. Isn't that beautiful? It seems like an awful lot, but it's not. Look at how beautiful that looks now. I'm spreading it around evenly and I'm able to see how thick it is on the rest of the project. Okay, that looks pretty even. You just gotta make sure to keep touching your bubbles, make sure your environment's clean, make sure the temperature is steady. I mean, talking lights, ceiling fans, air conditioning, it's all gotta be real careful about this stuff. But man, does this look beautiful. Oh man, I can't believe how nice this turned out. It's one of a kind. I've never seen anything like this. Another piece of plastic in there. What is the situation with the blizzy? Clear as glass. What's happening, everybody? It's me again. So I came in today to kind of take a look at everything, and I did get a few air bubbles, which is to be expected because we're just gonna sand them out. Now, I had put the epoxy on here a little too thin. I was trying to prevent a lot of the drips along the edge because I didn't want to have to sand a lot of it off. In order to get this like Jolly Rancher type finish on my epoxy river right here, I'm gonna have to pour epoxy on both sides. And the challenge with that is being able to evenly coat that without getting the drip marks on the sides. And I mean, normally you have to sand that off, but then you have to like polish it through like 8,000 grit and then like buff it and whatnot. And I'm gonna try really hard to avoid that. So very pretty, very pretty. So we're gonna flip it over. So you can see my drips all along the edge right here. And I'm gonna have to sand them off and it's gonna make it look all chalky like this. So the underside is not that big of a deal. I just need to make sure to be able to get that epoxy on this river right here. Got a bunch of the stained epoxy still here because again, it probably would have took another 10, maybe even more passes through the drum sander in order to get this out. And it just would have costed more time and more money and material. So we just went ahead and got it to a point where it was nice and smooth. And we at least had the river here nice and clean. So I'm gonna sand all these down, sand this down, and then I'm gonna put a seal coat here, a real thin seal coat, as thin as I can, and then just go from there. So let's get it done. Okay, so we have it all sanded down. I got all those annoying bumps off. It actually took quite a bit of time. I used 120 grit to knock that down. You could probably use something a little more coarse to really get at it, but I didn't want to mess up too much of the epoxy here. So I wiped most of it down with just a paper towel outside, and now I'm going to use my 91% isopropyl alcohol stuff and give it a quick wipe down. All right, so now we have our project all wiped down. So now I'm going to mix up significantly less epoxy than I did yesterday and try to just do another seal coat on the bottom so we can see the pretty Jolly Rancher color pop through. This is gonna be difficult. Without sanding or polishing after the fact and using a self-leveling component on both sides without creating a bunch of ugly drippy marks, that's gonna be a pain in the ass holes. All right, so now I'm just gonna mix up 4 ounces. That's it. It's like my morning routine of alcohol. Four shots, 4 ounces. All my volume calculations are done by alcohol consumption. Just kidding, Mom. I'm just kidding. I'm okay, I think. Are any of us really okay, Mom? Should I be joking at a time like this? The world is a scary place. So I'm just gonna sit here in my tiny house and do pretty things. You can use a brush on this stuff, but you tend to leave, sometimes you'll leave bristles in there and it's inconsistent, and I prefer just to use one of these little squeegee deals here. Here, I'm gonna try to get a close-up, everybody, so you can see how cool this looks in live time. So I gotta drop a little bit like that, and then I gotta torch out them ugly ass bubbles. And then I gotta come get you so you can see it. Wow, you can really see the scratches in this. Look at that. I did 120 and you can really see the scratches. That's no good. I don't want that shit at all. Well, it's a good thing I noticed that was gonna look like shit before I got any further. Work through the grits. Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for not telling me that that was gonna happen. Prep work is the most important. Okay, everybody. Let's take a minute to show you how to not mess up. Don't be like me, right, kids? My kids? So what I've been doing is I've been using my 220 to get this all back down to the epoxy all nice and smooth. And let me show you the difference here. So you can see these drag marks right here and like all along here. What it should look like is it should be like nice and cloudy like this with all these little pigtails here. So I got to keep sanding so I can get all these things taken out of there. And I managed to ruin a bunch of my discs in getting the epoxy back off, but now that it's back down to the wood, I will keep sanding and hopefully I can get all these little track marks out of there. Let that be a lesson to you or just to me. You probably already knew better. Make sure that you get your project down to the proper grittiness. That means working your way through the grits and not just skipping to the chase like I did. You want it to be nice and cloudy like that. And then that way, when the epoxy goes over it, you won't have all those deep scratches and it won't look so bad. So just do it right the first time.
Welcome, half-asser.
Okay, everybody, now that I've decided to sand it properly, I am ready to put the epoxy down. And boy, does it look nicer. Not to mention nice and smooth. Now, in my defense, I figured with the deep scratches, the epoxy would fill that in and you'd never be the wiser, but I was completely wrong. Forgive me, everybody. Y'all ready for this? Not looking like shit epoxy spread. Take 2. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Fuck yeah. Dude, look at that. Oh, look at that, guys. Oh, I wanted to show you guys something really cool. So you can either leave it cloudy in the bottom, or you can take a little bit of the epoxy and kind of do this and see how it looks without the cloudiness. Isn't that cool, man? So it's like, if you wipe this down, you can see through it and it gives it that candy look. See, watch, and I can put my hand under there. So it's like, if you don't want to look at your feet, you know, you can do that cloudiness, but I love it. It looks awesome. Oops, there's a little chip mark. Thumbs down. Get down to the right level here. I can't get over how cool this middle part is, man. I don't know what it does to me. It's just something else, man. I've never really seen anything like it. It looks and feels like a Jolly Rancher. My favorite is watermelon. Put down in the comments below what your favorite Jolly Rancher flavor is. You know, I'm pretty partial to green apple as well, and also blue raspberry. Kill me now. Some over here. Maybe a little bit over here. Make sure that your project is level. That is extremely important. So that way you get the proper coverage. All right. Oh my God, man. I can barely squat down to get my kids the fucking cereal box, let alone do arts and crafts and exercise. Exercising is for people that want to impress. So I'll come back out in 4 to 6 hours and take a look at the project and see if it's still tacky. More than likely it will be because our weather's really weird right now, but that's okay. I'll come out tomorrow on my Saturday and take a look at it and get started on the next coat. I'm gonna be working for the weekends just for you guys, or it could just be that I'm really excited for how pretty this is. But anyway, I think you guys are great and awesome, and I would love it if you would come back in 4 to 6 hours with me and take a look at it. And you probably have better things to do. Okay, everybody. Give it another torch. Oh, fuck. Piece of paper towel, man. Another piece of paper towel. So I just showed you just now, I have tiny, tiny little dust contaminants in there. And I mean tiny. They are not worth messing with. Okay, 4 to 6 hours, I'll come back and take a look at it, and hopefully everything will have settled and it's nice and polished and pretty. And then I'll get started on the other side. And then once the other side's done, I'm gonna clean it up real nice. I'm gonna flip this back over and I'm gonna put the table legs on. And I got the table legs in the mail just now, and man, they are absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to put this all together. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Does anybody stay tuned anymore? Do you stay tuned to your TV or your radio? No, everybody's streaming everything. You got your Spotify, Pandora, you got your Hulus, your Netflixes. We're all streaming, everybody. There's no such thing as tuning in. So stream in later, everybody, and check out my process and my progress. And I want to see you because you're beautiful and you're smart and you're funny. And I want you to check it out and give me a clap. Give me a pat on the back, and I want you to clap. And send me a video and tell me in the comments below how long you clapped for me and your impressiveness on my project. Park life. Oh, that was a big one. Because in life, we all need a big one, right?